Hi students, welcome back in chapter number 7 of science in getting to know plants. This is the second part of the chapter. In previous session we had learned about the classification of plants on the basis of their characters as herbs, shrubs and trees. Apart from that we had also learnt about creepers and climbers. Now in this session we are going to study about the parts of a plant. All of us know about the different parts of a plant such as roots, stem, leaves and flowers. Now we are going to study about these parts in detail. We know that the root system consists of roots and the shoot system consists of stem, flowers and leaves. So, we will first study about the stem. Let's start with the stem first. Stem holds the plant erect or upright. Stem bears leaves, flowers and fruits. Stem carries water and minerals from soil to different parts of plant through special tubes called as xylem. Stem also carries food prepared in leaves to different parts of plant through special tubes called as phloem. Now let's understand this. All of us know that roots absorb water and minerals from the soil. Then these water and minerals are transported to different parts of the plant through stem. But how? With the help of special tubes which are present in the stem, and these tubes are called as xylem. You can see the xylem in the given picture here. Xylem is a special tube present in the stem with the help of which water and minerals are transported to other parts of the plant. Now, we also know that food is prepared by the leaves in the plant by the process of photosynthesis. Now this food is transported to other parts of the plant again by stem with the help of special tubes called as phloem. Understood? So what we studied is that water and minerals are transported by xylem and food is transported to different parts of the plant by phloem. You can see phloem in this picture given. Special tubes present inside the stem with the help of which food is transported to different parts of the plant. Now, here we have an experiment to prove that stem conducts water. That is, stems transport water and minerals to different parts of the plant. Let's look at the experiment. You have to take a glass and fill it 1/3 with water. Add a few drops of ink to water. Here we have taken red ink. Cut the base of the stem of the herb and put it in the glass. Then observe it the next day. So you will observe that the color of flower will change and it becomes red. How? Because the stem has transported the colored water to different parts including flower, and that's how the flower got red color. Now here also we have a white rose stem. We dip the stem in blue ink and what we observe? We observe that flower's color has changed to bluish. How? Because stem has transported this blue water to flower. So this proves that stem transports or conducts water. Okay. Now we will study about leaves. First we will see about the parts of leaves. So, The broad green part of the leaf is called leaf lamina, and the part of a leaf by which it is attached to the stem is called petiole. Now you will understand the different part of the leaf. Broad green part is called as the leaf lamina, and the part of a leaf by which it is attached to the stem is called petiole. Now these small lines present on a leaf are called its vein, and a thick vein in the middle of the leaf is called midrib. So let's revise again that broad green part is called as the leaf lamina, thick vein in the middle is called midrib, small lines on leaf are veins, and the part with which the leaf is attached to the stem is petiole. Now the veins also make the pattern on the leaf, and this is called as venation. The pattern of veins on the leaf is called venation, and we have two types of venation: reticulate venation and parallel venation. Let's study about each one of them. First is reticulate venation. If this design is net-like on both sides of midrib, the venation is reticulate. You can see in the picture the design is on both sides of the midrib, like the leaf in figure A. So these type of venation is called as reticulate venation, found in rose, peepal tree, mango tree, etc. And if the design made by veins is parallel to one another in a leaf is called parallel venation. You can see in the given picture in figure B, in this the veins are parallel to one another. So this type of venation is called as parallel venation, found in grass, wheat, maize, banana, etc. Now see the given picture. It shows reticulate venation, the net-like design present in both sides of the midrib. And this picture shows parallel venation. The veins are parallel to another. If you look carefully in the picture, in the left leaf veins are vertically parallel to one another, and in the right leaf they are horizontally parallel to one another. So this is called as parallel venation. Next, we will study about two important functions of leaves: photosynthesis and transpiration. Let's study about photosynthesis first. Photosynthesis. Green leaves make plants food by the process of photosynthesis using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight. So, let's learn about the photosynthesis in detail. Now, plants prepare food by the process of photosynthesis, and photosynthesis occurs in leaves of the plant. Leaves absorb carbon dioxide from the air, water and mineral from the soil, and in the presence of sunlight and with the help of chlorophyll pigment which is present in the green leaves. The leaves produces carbohydrates and releases oxygen. This is the process of photosynthesis. On the surface of leaf there are very tiny small pores or tiny openings called as stomata, and these openings or stomata helps to absorb carbon dioxide from air and release oxygen into air. Basically, it helps in gaseous exchange. You can see this process in the picture and you can observe these things in this figure. Now, with the help of experiment, we will try to prove that leaves carry out photosynthesis and prepare carbohydrates. We have studied in chapter 2 that to test the presence of carbohydrates or starch, we can perform iodine test. So, we will perform iodine test on leaf. But before that, we know that our leaf is green color, and if we will put iodine solution over it, we cannot clearly observe the color change because it's already colored. So first we will turn our leaf into colorless. So for that you have to take the leaf in a test tube and then pour spirit over it. Then you have to put the test tube in a beaker which is half filled with water. Then heat the beaker till all the green color from the leaf comes out into the spirit in the test tube. So now our leaf is colorless. Now we can clearly observe the color change. Then take out this leaf and wash it in the water. After that, put it on a plate and pour some iodine solution over it. You will observe that the leaf color has changed to blue-black, which indicates the presence of starch in leaves. So now we have proved that leaves contains starch. Now we will also prove that leaves also carry out photosynthesis, because this experiment proves that leaves contain starch, but this doesn't prove that the starch was prepared by leaves only, right? So now we will try to prove that it is the leaves who performs photosynthesis or prepares carbohydrates. So for this, you have to take a plant and then you keep this plant in dark room for 1 or 2 days, so that all the starch which is present in it gets consumed. After that, cover a part of a leaf with black pepper like shown in figure and keep this plant in sunlight. Then you will perform the same iodine test on this leaf. You will notice that the part of the leaf which was covered by the black pepper remains green by the iodine test, and the other part which was not covered by the paper turns blue-black. What does this mean? This means that in the presence of sunlight, the leaves which were not covered, they carried out photosynthesis and they have synthesized carbohydrates. So when you put iodine solution over these leaves, it will turn blue-black, which indicates the presence of carbohydrates. But the covered part of the leaf which didn't get the sunlight couldn't carry out the photosynthesis process. If couldn't prepares the carbohydrates. That's why this part of the leaf will not turn blue-black and it will remain green, which shows that there is no starch present over here. So this proves that leaves carry out photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. Next important function is transpiration. So leaves give out excess water in the form of vapor through the process of transpiration. Let's study about it in detail. We know that roots absorb water and minerals from soil. Some of the water is utilized in the process of photosynthesis for the preparation of food. Then the excess water is transpired by the leaves in the form of water vapor, and this process is called as transpiration. Now we will try to prove that leaves do transpiration. So, for this experiment, you have to take a medium size and well watered plant. Remove all the leaves of one twig of this plant and cover this twig with polythene bag. Cover any other twig with leaves with polythene bag also. Leave the plant in sunlight for an hour or two. Drops of water will appear on the inner side of the bag that covered the leafy twig. No water drops will be seen on the inner side of the bag over the twig without leaves. This shows that leaves do transpiration, that is, release excess water in the form of vapor to air. You can see on which we have removed the leaves, there was no transpiration, so we couldn't notice any of the water droplet over it. But in another part, leaves perform the transpiration, so we can see small water droplets over there. So this proves that leaves perform transpiration. So I hope you can understood very well about the photosynthesis and transpiration. So I conclude this session here, and we will study about the flower and the root system in our next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.